welcome back to another beginner's tutorial. Now, in the previous video I talked about working in the round. We talked about doing our slip knot, which I've got on my hook already, my slip knot. We talked about doing the chain, and we talked about the single crochet and the double crochet when working in this middle ring. Now in this video we're going to talk about working in rows. So that's when we make a chain at the bottom and then we work back and forth building up these rows. So rather than going around, we work back and forth building up these rows as we go. So this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to make our slip knot. If you need a reminder, have a look at that previous video on the slip knot, and I've also talked about how to hold the yarn and how to do the chain. But a quick reminder on doing the chain, it's hold on to this knot, and then it's a swoop, catch that yarn, and that's known as a yarn over, and then pull through that loop, and that is your first chain. So swoop, catch, yarn over, and pull through. That's 2 chains. Now I'm going to do 11. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Move your fingers up. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so that's 11 chains down there. You can see these little kind of V shapes. Okay, if you need to, pause the video and catch up with your 11 chains. And don't forget, if you see the little cog button, you can press that and slow the video right down. It might make our voice sound slightly funny, but you can slow it right down and watch it really slowly. Okay, so that's our 11 chains. Now in rows we usually have a turning chain which kind of brings that up to the height of the next row. So we're going to miss this first chain, so we don't count this loop on our hook. And if you look here, there's our very first chain. So we're going to go into the second chain, and we're going to do some single crochets. The single crochet is to insert into this first bar, so go under that first bar. Okay, so you should now have 2 loops on your hook, and then we're going to swoop, catch that yarn, so that's the yarn over, pull through that first loop, 2 loops on the hook, do a swoop, catch, yarn over, and pull back through 2 loops. Make sure your hook is always at this angle, so I'm going to show you that from this way. So we're going to go into the next chain, put that 1 bar over there, that loop, and then do a swoop, catch, and yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to do a yarn over, twist your hook. Now you need it at this angle here, because if you can see, it's going to then slide straight through there. It's at the right angle to go through both of those loops. Okay, so once more, we're going to insert our hook under that bar of the next chain, do a yarn over, so swoop, catch, pull through that chain, 2 loops, swoop, catch, pull through 2. So there, if you look now at the side, you have got one V, that's 1 stitch, another V, or 2 bars, that's your second, and then this one here is your V, that's your first one. So you've got 1, 2, 3, because this part here at the end, this little knobbly bit, that's your initial chain, which we ignored and skipped. So that's how you do your single crochet. Now I'm going to continue along here with my single crochets. Remember, you can pause and catch up. I'm just going to continue this row of single crochets, and I'll show you right at the very end of this row how we finish. So there's if you're not sure if you're doing the right amount, just count them as you're going. Now this one right at the bottom can be confusing because you've got your knot here, and it's a bit of a, might look a bit funny, but you still need to go into there, do your last single crochet, and then just pull your tail a bit tighter, and that is your first row of 10 single crochets. And then what you would do next is you are going to chain 1, and this is what we call the turning chain. And then you flip over your work just like this, and then you can see that turning chain has just brought us up this side here. Okay, so we've done our turning chain and turned our work, and now we're working into the back of these stitches, so they look quite different to our chain. So if we look here, this is our initial chain that we've done and turned, and here is our very first stitch. You can see there, it's our very first stitch. So we're going to insert under this here, and if you look on top, if you turn it, you can see these 2 bars here, and that's our first, the top of our first stitch. Okay, so we're going to insert under there, do a yarn over and pull through, just as we would for the single crochets into the chain, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through, exactly the same. The only difference is we're going under these 2 bars. Okay, so you can usually see there's a bit of a slight gap there. You see that slight gap, and that's where you're going in. So you would go under there, pull through, and pull through your 2 loops. The next one, see there, you've got the 2 bars, and you're going to go through there, 2 loops, and do your single crochets all the way along in just the same way as you did before. So work your way back along this row, pause the video, rewind it if you need to, and just take your time along this row, finding the backs of those single crochets. And when you're ready, I'm going to do this very last stitch with you. So pause the video, do your 9 single crochets, count them, 9 single crochets along here, count these little V's and bumps, and I'll meet you when you finish those 9, and we'll do the last one together. Okay, so you've done your 9 single crochets along the top here. Now the last single crochet can be a bit tricky because it's in this funny little clump here. Now if you look, try and bring this close to the camera, if you look here, there's a little bump on the side. That would be your initial chain, so ignore that, you don't want that. But then if you look here next to it, you might need to give it a turn. You can see that there's that initial stitch here. If I can try and get my nail under it, there's that initial 2 bars there. So what you're going to do is insert your hook. Now you might need to give it a wiggle, okay, and go under there. So if you look here, there are 2 bars, so you always need those 2 bars. Sometimes when you try and get your hook through, you might only catch 1, and then you just need to go back, find that, and then go through that 2nd bar. Okay, so it can be a bit tricky on the last one, but just persevere and give it a wiggle, and then if you need to, just use your nail to pull it over. Okay, and then you're going to complete that in exactly the same way as the others, with a yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your 2nd row. So we would call this the wrong side, because we started on this other side. Okay, I'm just going to get you started on the other side because it does look different from each side when you do it. Okay, so it's a chain 1 for your turning chain, and then you turn your work, and now if you look here, if you just give a little pull on this chain, you can see your first stitch is here. It needs to line up. Your first stitch is here, right here where that little gap is. So you're going to go into here, this very first stitch, and then you're going to complete it in exactly the same way. And then look here, you can see your next little gap and your 2 bars. Go into there and do it in exactly the same way. Now continue along here, and I will meet you back to do your last stitch as we did in the last row. Pause the video, rewind if you need to, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so you should have 9 single crochets along here, 9 single crochets along here, and now we're going to do the last one together again. So if you look here, you've got this little bump here, like I said before. We're going to ignore that, but look to the right of this. excuse me, and then you're going to try and wiggle that to make a space. So just give a wiggle there, and if you turn it slightly you can see these 2 bars on top. So insert your hook. Now I think mine's only gone under 1 bar there, so that means, yeah, I've got 1 bar left behind. So let's try that again. And it's alright if it's a bit tricky, you just have to persevere. It's only the very last stitch, so pop your hook through there and then bring that one on, and then use your nail and bring that other one on. And now I've got the 2 bars plus my original loop, and we just finish that off. So that is how we do our single crochets in a row. We chain and then we just work along and we do a 1 chain turn. Okay, so we've done our single crochet rows, and now we're going to do some half double crochet rows. Now, if you were taking part in our 2018 crochet along, Granny Square crochet along, if you did this waffle along square, you may remember that we did some half double crochets at the sides of our rows. So you may be familiar with half double crochets already. If not, this is how we're going to do it. Now, generally for a half double crochet, we will do 2 chains for a turning chain. We did 1 for the single crochet, and we do 2 for the half double crochet to bring it up to the height of our stitch. So 2 chains, and then turn your work. And now into this first stitch, you see that little space there and your 2 bars. We're going to do a half double, which is a yarn over, so that's a swoop, catch, a swoop and a catch, sorry. And then holding on to that, we're going to insert our hook into this very first stitch. Okay, so you have these two bars of the stitch on top plus your original loop and your yarn over. And then you're going to do a swoop, catch and pull through. You've now got 3 loops on the hook, and now you're going to hold on to these, do a yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops, and that is a half double crochet. So this chain, the pattern that you're following will tell you whether this counts as a stitch or whether it's just a turning chain. But you'll see it's the same height as our half double crochet. Excuse me. So we'll do that again. We're going to do a yarn over, insert into our stitch, a yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, yarn over, insert into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Don't forget, you can always slow the video down if you need to. Yarn over, insert into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we're going to continue along to the end, and I will do the very last stitch with you. So pause the video if you want to, or just slow the video right down and do the rest of your half double crochets to the end of this row. Okay, so I've got my 9 half double crochets so far, and I'm on to my last stitch. And again, like the single crochet, it can be a bit tricky. So again, we're going to ignore this little bump on the side. If you look at this from the top, you can see your stitch with those 2 bars. So we're going to do a yarn over, insert into this under those 2 bars, make sure you've caught both bars, give it a wiggle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that is your first row of half doubles. So you can see they are just this little bit taller than your single crochet stitches. Okay, so if you want to do another row of half double crochets, you would do 2 chains, 1, 2 chains and turn your work, and then you would find your first stitch, which is here, and you would do a yarn over, insert into this space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, yarn over, insert into this stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3. And you would do this all the way back along the row. So do that row and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so you should now have 9 half double crochets along this row, and our last one is going to be that yarn over, and again we're going to be going into this funny little space here, okay, under those 2 bars. So wiggle through, give that a wiggle, and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and that is your 2 rows of a half double crochet and your 2 rows of single crochet. So we have 2 rows of single crochet and 2 rows of half double crochet, and of course our original chain of 11, so we have 10 here plus a turning chain. So we're now going to move on to the double crochet. The double crochet is very similar to the half double crochet, as its name implies. For this one you need a turning chain of 3, so 1, 2, 3 chains, and turn your work. And then we're going to go into this very first stitch here, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert into our very first stitch, yarn over and pull through. We've got 3 loops on the hook, so just the same as the half double crochet, but this time we're going to do a yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops. We've slipped off those first 2, we've got 2 loops left on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2. That's your first double crochet. So yarn over, we're going to go into this next stitch, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Once more, yarn over, you might want to hold on to that yarn, insert into your stitch, so under those 2 bars, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. I'll do it once more, yarn over, insert into your stitch under those 2 bars, yarn over and pull through. You've now got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So if you need to, rewind the video and have a look at that again, and then pause and continue your double crochets all the way along, and I'll meet you for the final double crochet at the end. So I've done my 9 double crochet stitches now, and I've got my chain of 3 at the beginning there. So the very last one again is this funny little knobbly bit at the end, as we've had in all our other rows. So yarn over, insert under that stitch, remember, give it a wiggle and a push through, make sure you've got both bars on there, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that is your row of doubles. So we've got here so far a row, we've got our chain, 2 rows of single crochet, 2 rows of half double crochet, and a row of double crochet, and you can see how the stitches progressively get longer and taller. Okay, so if you were doing another row of double crochet, you would do your 3 chains, 1, 2, 3 chains, turn your work, and you would go into this very first stitch here. You can see that space there, so you do a yarn over and insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So why don't you pause the video and do this row back along, and we'll meet at the end. Okay, so we've finished our row of double crochets, and now I'm just going to show you one more stitch that you might come across quite often, and that is the treble crochet or triple crochet. So for that, you might have already guessed it, you're going to chain 4 for your turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and then turn your work. And now we're going to work into this first stitch here as normal. Excuse me. So this time we are going to yarn over twice. So that's once and twice. So we've got 3 loops on our hook now. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Once and twice. Hold on to those loops. Insert into your very first stitch. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through just as you would for a double. And now you've got 4 loops on your hook. And now you want to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that is your treble crochet stitch. So you can see why our 4 chains make that height the same as the treble. So we'll do that again. So it's yarn over once, yarn over twice. So we have 3 loops on the hook. Hold on to that, and then we're going to insert into our next stitch, yarn over and pull through. We've now got 4 loops on the hook. This previous work might want to twist around, but just sort of twist it back so you can see those 4 loops there. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the second 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. Once more, yarn over twice, insert into your stitch, yarn over and pull through 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And that is how you do your treble crochet. So pause the video, rewind if you need to, and I'll meet you at the end of this row to just do one more row back. So that's your row of treble stitches, and just to remind you, to work your way back, it would be a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn your work, so chain of 4, turn your work, and then do those 2 wrap rounds, 2 yarn overs, insert into your first stitch, and just continue all the way along as you have done in that previous row. And that is your treble crochet stitch. Just continue that row and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so we've finished our row of treble crochets, and now the way that you would fasten off, if you're not sure, is the way I do it is I just pull through as if I'm going to chain, and then I just put up and snip that off. Oops, scissors. Snip that off and pull that tight as a knot. And then, oops, I've pulled a bit too much, but you need to leave some for sewing in, and we'll probably show you sewing in on a different video. So if you look now, you've got your starting chain, 2 rows of double crochet, 2 rows of single crochet, 2 rows of half double, 2 rows of double, and 2 rows of treble crochet with 1 turning chain, 2 turning chains, 3 turning chains, and 4 turning chains. And that's how you work in a row. And those stitches would be exactly the same whether it was working in a row or a round. Exactly the same stitches, but without